Welcome to Talk. I'm your host, Elizabeth Vanderwalt, the founder of Fruitful and Doula Services. This is a space for any woman who is walking the path of deeper healing. Whether you're tending to your fertility, maybe you're carrying life, or you're grieving loss, or even stepping into motherhood. And maybe it's easing into wisdom of menopause. Here we honor the full spectrum of womanhood through story, nourishment, and sacred conversation. So take a deep breath. Let's settle in and begin. Okay, everyone. Today's episode is going to be all about how to find a little bit of joy right after as you are going through that fertility process. And it's kind of tough. It's not kind of, it's a lot of tough. And we see you, we feel you. And there's a lot of more people than you realize that are going through this. So if you're struggling to conceive, it can kind of feel like your whole life has been consumed by this infertility. You'll see it as your sole goal and your purpose, and it can squeeze the enjoyment out of the most of things in your life. So your job becomes a source of focus on just to conceive. And so that might mean that any type of income resources that you have goes towards maybe fertility treatments. Your relationship and your connection with your partner dwindles as you focus merely on he's semen, I'm an egg, and that's it. And maybe you're even finding that your friendships are going through a huge shift as you notice your friends with their easy to come by conceptions. Maybe they have other children and this is your first you're trying for. So those can take a toll as well. So what you find with your fertility journey is that a lot of your social life, your emotional, and your physical all goes towards conception. So maybe this means that you're not feeling as comfortable to go into the public and you're finding it's harder to laugh about anything or find joy in the smallest of things. So I really wanted to talk about this because there's a book by Brene Brown and it's called The Gifts of Imperfection. So if you haven't read it, I do highly recommend you do. I have only read a little bit of it, I must admit. I need to get back into that. Reading is kind of my sore spot. I used to read a lot and now I've kind of dropped down a little bit. So I wanted to talk today about finding the little bit of joy that you can in between your big moments of trying to conceive. So, of course, I fully acknowledge that when you're trying to conceive, it can be very hard to find any type of happiness. And this is because what you're going through on a daily basis is more than challenging. It's a struggle. And a lot of people, and maybe you haven't admitted this to yourself yet, and so when I say these words, it might sting a little bit. But a lot of the times, especially as women, we take the blame on ourselves. Why am I not getting pregnant? There's something wrong with me. I'm broken. And we never like to think too quickly that our partners may have something wrong with them as well, or it might just be an imbalance of 100 things. The main goal is that we really find a lot of dislike for a lot of things. So, although your circumstances make it hard to be happy, I'd like to suggest trying to look for a future of happiness. So, what is joy? Joy is something that is beyond happiness. It is, I feel like, an inner feeling of maybe hope, a mix of faith and love. And it's honestly just an opening of gratitude and purpose. So if you're like, joy, I don't want to touch that. That seems way too hard. I want to challenge you to think the other way around, that that is something I strive to have joy. And it's very hard. I'm not in this world where I think everything could be perfect and this could be a band-aid solution to fix for you. But sometimes instead of aiming for an overall state of joy, we can actually focus on just a glimmer. I'm going to tell you the best thing ever, and this is because I'm type A. So if you're type B or type C, I don't think it goes beyond there, but if it does, sorry, I didn't mention you. But if you are a type A planner, anything that like that, you're gonna love this. If you're not, I'm sorry. Very hard to tell you this, but we're going to create a list. And I'd like to call it our shopping list. Something we're shopping for joy, we're shopping for ease. So, of course, I want you to try to write it physically down. Sometimes I find there's a huge difference between physically writing something down and just having it on your phone. So, if you can, grab your pen, grab your paper, and let's try to do this a little bit. Okay. So, these, there are these things when you're doing them that you can feel stronger, maybe more in control, and lighter. Now, it's important to remember that these things that used to give you joy may not work anymore. You're changing. And if you've watched episodes of the past podcast, we've talked about this is that you are not the same person as you were before becoming a mother. Between each children, you're different. So it really is nothing wrong with that, okay? So you may not find yourself having the same kind of joy if you went to, like, with your girlfriends to the nightclub, or maybe you don't get the same kind of joy of, I don't know, extreme weekends away with the hubby or whatever. I don't know how or what your life might look like, but it may not be the same as it was before your fertility journey. So, if you're looking at blank piece of paper on what things could bring you joy, I want you to try to think just a little bit beyond of what's buried of your infertility. So I want to give you just a few foods for thought for your shopping trip for joy and ease. So maybe it's about your nourishing foods. Maybe you have, let me think of, I'm trying to think of my favorite food. So my favorite food that brings me joy is a ham and cheese ciabatta roll. And it's got like a mustard in there and there's honey and it's got a piece of ham and either, I don't know what kind of cheese my sister uses, but let's just say a mozzarella. And when she grills that and you've got that dripping honey mustard taste as you just bite into it, the crunch of the bun, the soft tenderness of the meat. I'm sorry, vegans, if you're listening, and the vegetarians. Um, but it's so beautiful. And so I know that when I eat that, I'm going to have more energy to get things done. And that right there is your shopping for joy. That one moment where you were like, that was delicious. You watched a couple episodes ago, I did a podcast episode where I was talking about 3 daily rituals. And it was talking about how you got to make different things and moments in your life as rituals. And this plays a really big part even after conception is I want you to look about the little things. So let's say it's a beautiful sunny day and you've decided with your partner or maybe by yourself, you're going to go to the beach. So you made yourself like a picnic snack. Obviously, you could tell I always think about food. You're gonna have a picnic lunch. You're gonna bring that with you, and you're gonna go and you're gonna enjoy the sun. So that little moment right there brings you just a little bit of joy and ease. So now you'll look for those little moments and you'll kind of pull it out of that. So what did I like about sitting on the beach? Was it the sun, the way the warmth of it hit my body? Was it me wearing a bikini or a bathing suit and just feeling so good about how I looked? It's finding those little things that can kind of bring you the joy, which it's very hard. I'm not gonna lie. I understand that those kind of moments may be hard to find right now, but it's about writing these down slowly. So you don't have to come up with this list today. You may take a few days, a few weeks, maybe even throughout this entire year or upcoming year in 2026, where you're going to write these things down. Maybe it's sitting in front of the TV watching a movie, and maybe you decide it's time for a glass of red wine. Or maybe a bowl of Doritos. And if you know anything about me, Doritos, ketchup chips, and all dressed are my 3 favorite all standing type of chip flavors. That and Cheetos. Cheetos would probably go up next to Doritos, but only the puffy ones. I don't know how to explain it. But anyway, it's about finding those little moments. Oh, I really do talk a lot about food. So when you're aware of those moments, then you're not looking for taking action and you're just making time to relax and enjoy them. So, if possible, write this in a journal, something that you could cut back to. Book a weekend away. Make a reservation for a date night and maybe message your friends to see if they want to come with you to the beach. Or maybe just give yourself the permission to spend a few mindless hours in front of your favorite television show, playing maybe your favorite video game or board game. And when you experience a moment of joy, I want you to try to acknowledge them. Oh, wow, this is really fun. I'm having quite a good time. And sometimes just focusing on those little moments and practicing a little bit of gratitude for them can kind of help you through the turmoil. And so I'd like you to just practice the gratitude with them, sit in them for a moment, and reflect afterwards on how you felt. So, if you're anything like me, you are going to create your list and you are going to know about it, but you're not going to do them. Does that make sense? Like I'm pretty good at like creating the list and then you just don't end up doing them. So, if you need a little accountability, just let me know. I will be around. If not, try to pair up with a buddy. So ask your partner maybe if they would do this with you, or ask a friend if they are going through a tough time and if they would also like to participate in this. And sometimes even just posting it on your Facebook wall or your Instagram wall, you might find a few friends that are going through similar struggles that might want to go through. And even if it's not a fertility struggle, there's different struggles under the surface. So I hope this helps a little bit, giving you a little comfort on trying to conceive and how you can find a little joy through those moments. So if you're watching, I hope you enjoyed this episode, but please stay tuned. I do post every single Monday a new episode of Womb Talk. Thank you so much. Peace out.